I came to what was then the University of Tennessee at Nashville in 1972, and have been there and then at Tennessee State after the merger in 1979.
Dr. Richardson, I think you made a point earlier about the significance of the Brown versus the Board of Education decision in terms of general society and et cetera. Let's start off by having you to talk about it from that perspective.
Yeah, the civil rights movement, which actually came out of the Brown decision, changed the country, changed the South. Diversity has been for the South a change from poverty to wealth. The South before the civil rights movement was the laughingstock of the country. It was the poorest section. It had been, up until the Civil War, the richest section of the country. After the Civil War, the South sort of faded out of the mainstream of American economics. There was absentee ownership of the mineral resources of the South. The railroad came through the South, but no ownership in the South, and no jobs of the type that was in Detroit and in Chicago and so on. But after the civil rights movement, the South became one of the richest part of the country. It gave up its hold on overt segregation and gained in its stead wealth. So the change in the South has been a direct result of Brown.
Very, very good. And of course, Dr. McGinnis, let's have you to give some preliminary statements in reference to your impressions on Brown. Now, we have only half a minute to do this, and we're going to come back after this first commercial break, Dr. McGinnis, and we're sorry.
It's really about the culture. It's not that Brown, at least immediately, had that great an impact on the school system and desegregation in that sense, but over time it has been very much responsible for changing the culture in the South.
And so you think that Brown is significant as well because it changed the South.
I think that's why I think that was the catalyst in bringing about a lot of what Dr. Richardson just talked about.
Very good. And of course, we've got a few seconds before our commercial break. Now, when we come back, what we'd like for you to do is to look at the institution that the two of you represent and the way that institution has been able to respond to Brown versus the Board of Education in terms of diversity. We've got another individual who's coming on later to talk about some specifics in reference to that, but we want the two of you to do that for us. Of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. The Board of Education and Diversity